it right on over to Amy Noble, who is our next practitioner to go through her session about fear. So, not oppression, fear.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much. Like Mercedes said, my name is Amy Noble. I am so happy to be here this afternoon with all of you. And yeah, we're going to talk about fear a little bit. I am an Akashic healer, NLP coach, and Reiki master as well. And, it's easy to get wrapped up in fear. My partner and I had a conversation this week about being human is all about not fearing the fear. Try not to fear the fear. The only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. And then we get into, as humans, we get into this cycle of running from fear and running straight into it by trying to run away from it. And we need to sort of take a deep breath and recognize that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel what we feel. And it's okay to not really know what's ahead, with the full moon in Virgo, like James is just saying, it's do it, get it done, jump in, dive in, with that Virgo energy. And that's very true. And so we can be met with a wall of fear and a wall of not quite knowing what is coming and what we're stepping into. And that can paralyze us. So for today, what I'd like to do is guide us all into the Akasha field, which is a higher frequency energy. And I'm going to open up our Akashic records, which is our energetic records within that field of infinite divine intelligence. And we are going to call forward the fear, the uncertainty, the fear of not quite knowing what is coming, and our humanness to fear when we're not sure. And then we're just going to release it, just like helium balloons and let them fly away. We're just going to release it and clear the decks for just a lot of juicy, high vibe energy to flow in its place. So I invite everyone to take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes gently. And simply see yourself in a peaceful garden. The warmth of the sun starts to fill your heart space. You're just going to allow it to gently fill your entire body now. Running through this peaceful garden is a beautiful path leading to a bright green door. Notice the brilliant white light of 100% as it flows through the door as it gently opens. I ask now that the guides, masters, teachers, angels, goddesses, and higher selves be present now as we get ready to walk through the door into the Akasha, banishing any negative influences now, should there be any, enabling this space to be filled with divine love, divine light, divine truth, divine abundance, and divine power. This is now a divinely protected space filled with 100% love and light. Stepping along the path now, may we only and always access the Akasha for the highest good of all. And stepping through the door now, we access the Akasha with the support of the guides, masters, teachers, angels, goddesses, and guardians who are 100% aligned with our highest purpose and path in this space now. Just take a nice deep breath. I now request to open and access the record of everyone on this call. To have your record open, simply say yes. And just continue to breathe. You find yourself at the edge of a forest. The warmth of the sun glowing down, and you see a path leading into the forest. On each side of the path, there are tall trees, welcoming in the way that they stand strong. You can sense the winds of change in the air. You can sense that things are new, and nothing really seems familiar, which is a little unsettling, but that's okay. Taking the first few steps into the forest now, we understand that we are always guided and protected by an energy far greater than any of us. Moving further into the forest, you find yourself at the bank of a river. There are some comfortably mossy rocks on the bed of this river. If you feel invited to, you take a seat on one of the rocks and just watch the water as it lazily flows by. This is the flow of life. Notice how the water consistently moves, not bothered by anything in its path, simply moving with an ease and flow that is almost like a symphony. And you can feel a sort of heaviness on your heart space, almost a sorrow, a recognition that to step into the new, you have to release some of the old, some of the comfort, some of what you've always known on this path. You can just feel that sitting on your chest space for a moment. Just take a nice deep breath and sit with it. Next to you on the floor, you find perfectly smooth rocks, almost like tablets, and a brilliant white light marker next to them. These are gifts from the universe. And you can pick them up and simply start allowing that heaviness sitting on your chest to flow through you, through your fingers, and begin to write on these tablets your fears. fear of the unknown, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not good enoughness, fear of being in over our heads. What else is there? Fear of not having something after we release it, or not having something good enough to replace what we release. Fear of scarcity. Just let it all out. And as these smooth stones start to fill up with your fears, you can rest them on the flowing water in the stream. And very unlike rocks, instead of sinking, they float just on the surface. And the peaceful flow of this mighty river takes your fears away. In that beautiful, continuous flow that it's been maintaining all this time. As you finish placing all your tablets in the water, you stand tall at the edge of the river. And stretch your arms wide and feel your chest space open up. You can feel that weight lift off as your fears and worries float down the river, with the understanding that you've cleared this space for so much light and beauty and abundance and ease and flow to take its place. Take a nice deep breath once more. I'd like to thank the guides, masters, teachers, angels, and guardians. Please close the vibrational records of everyone on this call now and close the door between the worlds, grounding us into the present moment, grounding us into the present moment, grounding us into the present moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Just take a nice deep breath and open your eyes when you feel ready to. If anyone has any comments or would like to share anything about their experience, please pop it in the chat. If anyone has any questions. How was that?
That was so cool.
And that is the power of, you had a lot of stones, so that's okay. That is the power of working in your Akashic record and working in the Akasha field. You know, the reality is the field is this infinite intelligence of energetic records of everything in existence, past, present, and future. And so it's so wonderful when we can go in and clear the things that we may not even be aware of on a day-to-day, that's keeping us stuck, that's keeping us from doing the things that we really want to do. So that's amazing. Awesome. Awesome, Amber. Your intuition is on fleek today. That's perfect.
I've had the pleasure of having a session with Amy myself, and it always seems like sometimes when I'm with you, we're working together. It's like I see something and then you say it, or I feel something and then you say it, and I'm like, crazy, awesome.
Yes, yes. Absolutely, absolutely. I love when energy works like that. And, especially when you build a connection with the guide and the coach that you're working with. Um, that happens, the energy meshes, and we're all so interconnected, and we all are part of one, and so we all are so connected. That happens, and I love it. I love that when that happens. Awesome, awesome. Yeah.
We got a little bit of that going on in the chat too.
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments here. Yeah, awesome. So I'm taking it that no one has any questions.
I have a
Not seeing any.
question. How
Sure,
how
sure.
you're able to access the Akasha of multiple people at once? Like, what is that process kind of like?
Um, well, truth be told, this is the first time that I've accessed it for so many at the exact same time. So it was a brand new experience to me. I usually keep my sessions to about 10, 15. It's a bit more manageable, because as a guide, what happens when I open multiple records is I get information for all of the records that I've opened at the same time. And so, while doing the visualization, I've sort of trained myself not to over prepare for these things. And so I allow what needs to come through to come through. And that way, if I'm working off a script, then I would kind of ignore what's coming through and be working off what I had planned. Whereas if I show up ready to work with what's coming up versus the script, it flows a lot better. And so that part where I asked, what else is there? That was sort of me guiding, but also sort of talking to the field and going, okay, tell me what else is there? Because at that point I was done with my list. And then some more stuff came forward, and so it's about listening. And then we recognize that, yes, okay, that was 30, 40 odd records, but we're so interconnected that a lot of stuff relates to many of us. And so we may feel unique in our struggles, but we really aren't. It may look different in each of our everyday lives, but when we get underneath the surface, it's pretty similar. And a lot of the times it's the same. So it's not as different for each of us as we really think it is, you know. Here's a question. How can we learn more about this? And okay, so I have actually introduced a sliding scale into my business where I allow clients to choose their price. And I sort of match the session to the investment that they can afford. And that allows me to not be energetically drained, but then the client to receive exactly what they need and that they can afford in that moment. And it really is my aim to help more people connect with the Akasha field and their, own energetic record. And so affordability, I'm very flexible on that, and I'm hoping more people in the industry adapt things that work for everyone in that way. Um, how did I discover the so COVID? When COVID happened, the question is how did I discover the Akashic records and know it was the right path for me. And so when COVID started, I had this sort of hunger within me to help more, help humanity more. And so I did that by sort of continually asking, how can I help humanity? Universe, show me what can I use? How can I help? And I was sort of frustrated about it for a few days. And because I was in communication with my intuition pretty much a lot, and I would listen to it. I followed nudges, and I came across a post on Facebook, someone talking about the Akasha field, and I started doing some research, and I was like, this is really interesting. And I jumped in, I had a session done on myself, and then I realized this is a tool that I can integrate into my toolbox that I can really help people with. And yeah, I just never looked back since then. And I've been really taking it and turning it into something that feels really, really good for me. So it may not always look like what exists in the industry right now and what other coaches are doing within the field itself. But I love playing with it. It's such a pliable tool that I love playing with it and recognizing that there's so many different ways that you can actually use the Akasha record and play in your client's Akashic field, Akashic record to help them, Right. So when I do a session with clients, usually how it goes is we do the introductory part where we get into the record, and a block would usually come forward. We clear that block, and then we ask the field, we ask infinite intelligence, what are some next steps, if there are any next steps that are present. So it could be something as simple as going outside more, spending more time with the people that we love, or doing the things that we love, reading more, studying, that sort of thing. So the nudges that we get from working within our record can be integrated quite easily into our daily life. A simple thing to do really is when we access our Akashic records is to simply meditate in that space as well. So you go into the field, you go into your record, and with attunement and some training, you can actually learn to do that. I'm actually getting set to do a second masterclass next weekend to teach students how to access their own record and be attuned to the field and that sort of thing. And so you can just meditate in that space and ask for any sort of steps, any practical steps that need to come forward to do so. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we have one more question in the chat, and it's, did you see actual words in the records, or is it just energy?
Oh, I didn't see that. It's different for everyone. So my partner is an Akashic guide as well, and she will say sometimes she sees things, sometimes she hears things. And so for me, a lot of the times I will see stuff. So I would be in a session with a client, and I'll see them as a child, or I will see a certain experience, and I will actually see it happening as if it's happening in the room with me. Sometimes I'll just get words. I'll just hear words, one or two words, and it'll sort of come together. And sometimes I'll just know. It'll just be a knowing, and I'll just be telling the client the thing as if I'm telling them the weather, or what country I'm in, or whatever it is. And so it's sort of this unexplainable way of having that information. And that's how I know it's accurate, Sometimes you smell things. So sometimes it's a scent, or goosebumps, or, something in your body as well. A lot of times I will feel heat in my body. And a lot of times clients will feel it as well. So yeah, it varies. It really, really does vary.
Yeah. So I feel it's funny, my head felt lightheaded, and then I remember I did a one-on-one session with Amy, which we'll leave a link in the chat for anyone that wants to book one of those. And I remember her telling me that she saw my past life, like a vision that she saw, and it was crazy and super cool. But thank you so much for doing that with us. That was really, really amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely.